We good?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So I created a little agenda. And first off, I just want to say thank you, Yeva, for introducing me. And also thank you to everyone that participated in the polls that I sent out. I took all of your feedback into consideration to try and put that all into today's presentation. And hopefully I cover all of the topics that you're most interested in, but feel free at the end to ask me any questions that I didn't cover or that you're just curious about. So, a little overview of our agenda is to first kind of talk about a general understanding of social media for business, which is sort of general, but I think important to just talk about first while getting into the mindset of talking about social media. And then the bulk of my presentation is going to be on platform specific strategies across Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, TikTok, and YouTube. And then going to talk a little bit about how to create a social media plan, how to measure your social media plan, and then we'll do a Q&A session at the end. So thank you, Yeva, for introducing me. I will just briefly say I'm Kayla. I used to work as a brand partnership associate at a influencer marketing platform. I also was a project coordinator for a digital marketing agency on the East Coast of the US. And currently, I run and founded a digital storytelling platform called Honestus. So that's a little bit about my background. So first, to get into the spirit of talking about social media, just going to go over a little general overview of why social media matters. Obviously, it's so prevalent in our everyday lives. The average person uses over 6.5 different social media platforms per month. And something that I've been finding in my own research is, there are definitely places in the world today where there's still no access to technology. But in general, on a global scale, smartphones and social media are now household items. So they've sort of moved from luxury items to something that a lot of people have in their hand now. And um, over 5 billion people use social media worldwide, which is half of the global population. So I thought that was just an interesting statistic to put into perspective how much opportunity there is out there for businesses and to really grow your community, not only globally, but also locally. Let's see here. So there's two main components of social media that I really want to emphasize today, and that's strategy and consistency. So when we think about social media for personal use, we typically are sharing with our friends, our family. Maybe we don't put too much strategy behind that. But when we're talking about social media in a business context or for content creation, there absolutely has to be a strategy and consistency with that. So I'm going to give you as many resources as possible to help you with your strategy and with being consistent. So there'll be lots of links throughout this presentation. I think afterward it's going to be sent to you. So I encourage you to go back and find the links and the resources because there's a lot of good ones out there that are free to use. And just a little exercise to begin here. I have these two questions of why did you start your business and what problem do you solve? There's a method I promise to both of these questions, but you can either just think it, type it, or if you want to share it, why did you start your business and what problem do you solve? So I'll give you a couple seconds to think about that.
Maybe the ladies can write in the chat and I
Yeah,
can monitor actually the chat box. So if something comes up, like I can read if it helps you.
yeah.
Hey, ladies, if you could think about these two questions, why did you start your business and what problem do you solve by your business?
Oops, did I just leave the... Okay, so the reason I ask you why you started your business is because this can tell you a lot about your brand. So for social media, thinking about things like our logo or our description, our bios, even color schemes, the message or the image that you're sharing with the world is really a great outlet on social media. So a good question to start there is why did you start your business? And then also the problem that you solve is, your selling point. So when you're creating content, what you really want to focus on. So it's very clear to people what it is that you can do to help them. And then just general in your social media strategy, setting goals and key performance indicators. Every single social media campaign that you do is going to have a different goal. So maybe brand awareness, maybe sales, or for example, say you have a new product or a new service that you're starting, you can focus your campaign on that specific new product. And then your KPIs, I'm going to show you a lot of different resources to track these since it's very hard to do that on your own. So hopefully that will be helpful. Here is a free marketing campaign template. Like I mentioned, every single marketing campaign you do will have a different goal. So you can use this as many times as you need for any platform. And so again, there's links throughout this presentation where you can go to these free resources. All right, so now we're going to get into the platform specific strategies. And at this point, I just wanted to say that, not all of us have a business that is necessarily creative based. And so social media is a really great outlet to be creative with your brand, with your business, whatever it is that you do, because I mean, not everybody has to be a social media expert, but everybody has the opportunity to be a social media expert or to be a content creator. So I think it's, something fun to do. And I hope you get some inspiration or excited about it.
Can I ask you, Kayla, a quick question? As I'm not an expert of social media, right? So I think it's also important to understand what do we do on social media. So you talked about the content creation. What is the content creation?
So content creation is any content that's going out, even as little as an announcement on your Facebook or Twitter or now X. Any content creation is the creation of really any kind of content. So your Instagram posts, photos, written messages, even email marketing can be considered content creation. So I'm sure many of us already do content creation without even really considering it. So I hope that kind of answers your
But is there any
question.
specific, let's say, now, like as regard, let's say, going on Instagram, is there
Mhm.
any specific content which is statistically, empirically, like found, which is the most actually interesting, the most appealing? That could be the videos, it could be the picture, it could be what is that? So we know which direction we have to go.
Yeah, I'll get into those specifically here, but a big part of it is the algorithms. So having engaging content is one part of it, but also understanding the algorithms. And the biggest way to get higher engagement is to be very consistent with what you post. So I'll talk a little bit more about that and how you can create a schedule and be consistent with your posts to reach a higher audience. So Facebook is, I was going to spend probably the most time talking about of all the platforms just based on your feedback and because it is the most populated social media platform. Um, so obviously Facebook has a lot of users and for many people it is the internet. So there's a lot of business opportunity there. Um, and some best Facebook practices for businesses choosing an account type, whether a business page or a personal account. And then I'm going to show you how to make sure that your account is complete so it's credible to users. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because many of us probably already have a Facebook page. But just in case there's someone who has a Facebook profile and say you have a lot of followers on there, it may not be the best move to create a Facebook page since it's really hard to transfer those followers from your Facebook profile to a new page. So if you have a really engaging or big following on your Facebook profile, you may not need to make a business page, but the main advantages of a Facebook page are the advertising and analytics capabilities, which I'll show you in the Meta Business platform. So 5 Facebook page best practices. I'm going to show an example of all of these, but just in general, a name that reflects your business in a professional way, an accurate page category. So when you have a Facebook business page, you can choose a category, and it's important to choose one that best reflects it because there are a lot of options and you can change it anytime, but food, art, fashion, those are all things that help you be more searchable or findable to people who are, in your area looking up something specific. A description that makes it very obvious what the benefits of following are, and then some just engaging imagery. So this is an example here. As we can see, they have a CTA in the cover, a CTA button here. You can change these buttons. So this says book now, but it can be call now, email now. There's a lot of different options. And then the intro here, it clearly establishes the benefits of following the page. So this is just one example. And then I put these are 5 examples of successful business pages on Facebook. So if you already have one or you're looking to create one, these are good to look at to see what you can do to improve your profile or how to set it up. So those are some of the best practices for business pages on Facebook. And then I'm going to talk about the inbound strategy. So this is where that content creation comes in, how to really make engaging content, as Yeva was kind of just talking about. So 3 main components of the inbound strategy are to attract, engage, and delight. So now I'm going to talk about some tips for engaging Facebook content. So what can lead to higher engagement?
Kayla, before we go, sorry, I had a question, but I was too shy to ask, like, what is CTA? Like the previous slide where
Yeah.
you showed, like, I don't have a clue, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So a CTA is
Different
a call to
generation.
action. I should have said that. A CTA is a call to action. So
Okay. Why do you
so
use it? Like, what is it?
So a call to action is some kind of content that provokes someone to engage with your content, which, yeah, a call to action.
Is it
So,
important to have it? Like, so.
yeah, absolutely. So, like, all of these are CTAs, right?
Okay.
So this cover image, good trips only. It's sort of a call to action to go take a trip, or right here, book now. This is probably the most important CTA on this page because it gives you an automatic option to book right away. So you're basically trying to make it as easy as possible for consumers to either contact you or to know exactly what you do.
Okay. So
So
also, like if I would leave, like the possibility, like say a button, like which allows the potential customer to get in touch with me, I can ask a question, like, so that's also very important in the social media. That will be CTA, right?
yeah, exactly. So whatever you can do to make it as easy as possible for people to engage with either your content or to contact you is the call to action. Um, so something that I learned in content creation is that it is so important to know when to post. So there is actually a method to this. And Sprout Social is a really good platform because they have charts like this for every single platform. But this is just an example, like for Facebook, if you see where these dark squares are, these are the best times to post. So if you're setting up a social media calendar or a strategy, you might want to look and do some research into your region, or just simply look at this and post at these times, and you should get higher engagement, more likes, or more spontaneous visitors to your pages. And then again, as I mentioned earlier, just consistency. So being more frequent and posting more consistently shows that you are a credible brand. It shows that you have more, or have an established page. The research shows that when someone goes to a page, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and there's consistent posts, people are more likely to engage with your content or to gain new followers.
But what about, let's say, consistency when we talk, Kayla, about the like time frame, right? Like so from my personal experience, if I see somebody, like basically posting, like several videos per day, like let's say five or
Mhm.
six, I just think it's just too pushy, like that's like I have the feeling that nobody buys your services or products, and that's why you are
Mhm.
pushing all the time. Or I think also like, when do you have the time to do something? So
Right,
is there any
exactly.
also that like the time frequency, like so how much, like so what exactly we post on social media? Is it important?
Yeah, well, that's a really great point, because I mean, I don't think most of us have a social media team, right? So those are brands of people where their job is to post all day for a brand or company. And it's, yeah, it's a lot. Um, but I would say at least posting something twice a week would be beneficial, or at least once a week. But having some type of frequency or consistency is not only a way to show that you're credible to, people online, but also to the algorithm. The more you have, some sort of consistency.
Mm. So it's not just about the people, but also algorithm gonna follow my post, like, and it gonna push or it gonna kill myself, right? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, any type of frequency or pattern is going to benefit you with the algorithm. Um, and so, yeah, photos and visuals, um, you don't need to have a professional image or stock images necessarily. Of course, those are really great things, but original photos can also be really useful to appear more personable. And then live videos, they say 80% of people would rather watch a live video than read a blog. So live videos are a great way to get new followers or to engage with your current consumers. A good strategy would be, looking at that chart showing the best times to post. Doing a live video during those times when people are most online is a really good strategy. Also, something at my influencer marketing platform that I used to work for, we talked a lot about webinars and how this is a great way to establish expertise and attract new clients as well. So, putting those events on Facebook or a live video as a sort of webinar is a really good way to establish your expertise and interact with your community.
Can I ask you the question? Sorry, I'm just curious, right? Like I always ask the questions. So for webinars, for example, like, so we are all very busy. We are always on the rush. We are always on the go. And I don't have the time, like to watch like an hour of the webinar discussion, right, to understand somebody's products, right? Like, is there any kind of like optimal length of these webinars, or maybe podcasts, like so, which I can listen on the go, like or something like that, and people are not getting bored of that.
When I was helping host webinars, I don't think they ever surpassed 30 to 45 minutes. I
Okay.
believe, yeah. So, but also being able to post them online after the fact, kind of like what we're doing now, is also really, really good strategy. So talking about Facebook, this is a really great tool. The what was it called? Meta Business. So cross-posting content is going to save you so much time. So talking about how we're all really busy, Maybe you want to increase your social media presence, but you don't have the time. This is a great way to cut down on time and kind of have a one spot to manage everything across Instagram and Facebook. So Meta Business is a fantastic platform. I put a link here for how to create a Meta Business profile if you don't already have one. But just like an example here, as you can see, if I were to create a post, I can simply select whether I want it to go to just Facebook, just Instagram, or both of them. So it gives you a lot of control over your posts. You can also manage all of your messages across Instagram and Facebook and comments all in one place, which for me makes my life a lot easier. You can also even talking about a content schedule. You can put your posts here. It gives you lots of suggestions. For example, here it tells me that my Instagram followers are most active at this time, so I can schedule a post. So, going back to what you were saying, Yeva, and a lot of us don't have time. If you can carve out, one hour or a day a week that you want to maybe dedicate to your social media strategy or plan, there's so much you can do with scheduling and planning. So that way you don't have to necessarily do it the rest of the week. It'll all be set up and posted on its own time if you schedule them.
Okay, so basically this is part of the meta business, like kind of
Mhm.
like app, right? If I can say that. And then if I see, like so this is a time when the most customers, like most kind of like viewers are watching my videos or kind of visiting my website. Like I can plan accordingly. So and that will be done by the app, not myself, right? Like I just have to think about the videos, I have to think about the text, like in the photos, and I can plan accordingly based on this data, which is given to me.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. It's really, really nice. Okay,
It's a
good.
great tool. Yeah. You can also do ad campaigns. So I did want to talk about this because when we talk about monetizing social media, this is really what this is talking about, are ad campaigns. I put a link on how to run an ad campaign in case you're interested. I was taught in marketing to not do ad campaigns until you've sort of built your social media presence because it might generate more bots and just not real people. But ad campaigns are paid campaigns. They can be as little as $5, as much as, I don't know, probably hundreds of dollars. But I figured I would just put that in there since that is, a big part of monetizing. Basically, what it does is it creates an ad of your product and puts it out into the algorithm. And there's a lot of different options with that. So I figured I would just put a little bit about that.
Okay, so you can choose a goal, like, and what else do you have
Mhm.
to give us inputs here that like then the app generates my ad campaign. So a goal, a product,
Mhm.
right?
Exactly. So whatever is like I talked about in the beginning, with your whatever your goal is for a particular campaign, it'll create a ad campaign for you based on that.
Okay. So I know like one of my friends here in this group, like so she's starting the spices business, right? Like so she has a fantastic logo, like in the brand name, like and then she creates these beautiful little kind of like packets of spices. So she can use Meta Business, like to create the ad campaign for her spices, right? Is
Yeah,
it like so
absolutely.
simple? Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah, and you can do multiple campaigns. And like I said, that you can do very inexpensive, very affordable ad campaigns, especially if you're trying to, boost a new product. That would be a really good idea.
Okay. But you have to pay for that a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I just wanted to show again how many features are on Meta Business. It really is a lifesaver. These are just all of these. You could probably spend a whole webinar going through all of the different tools, but just to show what a great free resource Meta Business is and content creation and scheduling. Most importantly, the analytics, since that will tell you so much about your audience and who's engaging with your content. Sometimes it's shocking. Sometimes, you're reaching a country that's not even your own or a certain demographic, and it's really insightful to see that data. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about WhatsApp for business. So the benefits of WhatsApp for business are higher engagement, customer support, and increased sales. I think most important with WhatsApp for business is the capabilities for customer support. I'm sure many of you have products added to your catalogs. Just some basic or sort of reminders are to keep it updated. You know, if you have a new product, to add it right away. If there's a product you no longer use, to delete it right away. Updating prices as they change, and to use high resolution images of your products. And then a particular feature of WhatsApp business that I think is really beneficial are short links. So I think it's automatically generated when you create an account for WhatsApp business. I put a link just in case, but you can customize these, and this is the sort of first point of contact with your customers. So it's a really great way to customize it to reflect your brand or how you want to be perceived. But also being able to communicate right away is a great way to show your customer service. Yeah. So now TikTok, which is very popular today. Just a couple facts to introduce TikTok. I'm sure many of you are already on TikTok. TikTok users are actually more understanding and open ads more than general internet users. So when we think about ads we see on or Facebook or just when you're on Google or a website, people are less likely to engage with that than if they're scrolling on TikTok. And this was a big strategy in influencer marketing, was that people would rather buy a product that they see another person they trust talking about it rather than just seeing it. So beauty is really big on TikTok. 1 in 4 viewers bought something after seeing a beauty TikTok video. And 63% of all successful TikTok ads communicate their message right away. So there's a lot of power in short form videos, and that has been such a great tool for businesses on TikTok.
Kayla, but is there a difference between the people who use TikTok, right? Like I think also there's a generational issue. There's also the product and service you can sell on Facebook, like market on Facebook, which will not go, let's say, on TikTok because it's a generational issue, right? Is it true?
Yeah. It is. Yeah, I have a link that in here that actually will help kind of differentiate which platform is right for you based on demographics. But TikTok tends to reach the younger crowds, probably more so like Generation Z to, millennial, I guess you could say. But I wouldn't just limit it to that. And we talked a lot about that in influencer marketing, that TikTok has the kind of capability to reach all sorts of demographics, but it definitely is catered more to a younger crowd per se. So a lot of the things that I talk about with each of these platforms sort of overlap, but finding your niche is really important with TikTok and really any platform. So algorithms favor niches, and this is what the strategy is in influencer marketing, is that people would rather there's higher engagement with micro influencers. So actually, where the platform that I worked with, we would not work with influencers that had more than 5,000 followers because their engagement starts to drop off. So if we think about like a mommy influencer, most of her followers are going to be mothers. You're not going to have, a big mix of different demographics or interests. It's very specific, it's very niche. So when she posts something about a product, she's going to have high engagement, higher sales, in comparison to, say, Kim Kardashian posts a Gucci bag. Kim Kardashian posts a Gucci bag, she's not going to get drive a lot of sales or a lot of engagement from that because it's a bit of an outlier.
Is it
So
also
some
about the craft trust, Kayla? Because like if you talk about these kind of like in like micro influencers, I understand that these are the influencers with not so many followers, right? Like but the followers who are following that mom, like or the I don't know, like somebody who is the followers are very close to her, right? Like so they are
Mhm.
basically the
Right.
friends, like the family. So if she is posting, let's say, go back to my spices, right? Like so if she's posting something and I'm like, oh my God, like I used this spice for cooking last evening for
Mhm.
my dinner, like and my husband just really fell in love with this kind of like spice, then of course, like so other moms, her friends with whom she's meeting on a daily basis, more or less, are gonna start to look for that spice, right?
Exactly. Absolutely. So finding a niche is a really powerful. So whether it's, agriculture, spices, like you were saying, beauty, food, etc. And some content strategies, ideas. There's so many famous trending sounds on TikTok. So using those trending sounds, the stitching feature, which is essentially a video that already exists, you kind of respond to it. So then you're both getting engagement from the original video and then your own followers, using hashtags. And then this is something that I learned sort of too late in my content creation career, was to never delete low engagement videos. So when you start creating content and you have a video or a post that does very well, you might think to yourself, oh, I should delete the other ones that didn't get as many likes or didn't get as many views. Don't delete them because the algorithm favors more content that you have. I mean, unless there's a case where you absolutely need to delete it, yes, delete it. But if it's the basis of, oh, it didn't get enough likes or views, definitely keep it because it's still going to keep you in the algorithm or favor you more in the algorithm. Vlogging, just, spend a day with me is a very popular thing. Spend the day with me on, the farm, spend a day with me creating this,
What is vlogging?
how-to videos.
What is vlogging?
Vlogging, yeah. So vlogging is much like blogging, but with video. So it's spending the day with somebody. You'll see a lot of those. Spend the day with me as a entrepreneur in beauty, or spend the day with me as a farmer that's doing this. People love to see that,
Okay.
coming along with you to do something, kind of getting a sneak peek into your life and what you do. That's vlogging. How-to videos are also very popular. How to create this, how to do that. Um, those are very high engagement videos.
So if I would be kind of like trying to use social media, for example, like and one thing is monetization, but like let's say I wanna create my personal brand as a trainer, like small and medium-sized enterprise trainer, like so this vlogging could be interesting thing, like so where I show how I spend the time talking with the clients, visiting the clients, and also like little kind of like how to do something, right? Like giving like pitching my business services, like not kind of like saying, oh, this costs this, right? But showing how I work, with whom I work, and building the credentials and trust by this. That could be worthwhile to try on TikTok. Can we do it also on Facebook and WhatsApp, Instagram?
So Instagram, Facebook all have short form video capabilities with the reels. Um, WhatsApp, the only content sharing that I'm aware of is when you're posting to your story, which with another way that you can recycle videos. So any kind of short form videos that you're making can really be used across all these platforms, essentially. So you're not having to recreate content, but just filming it on your phone and then uploading it to all these different platforms. And then this is something sort of new, but is becoming very, very popular, is the TikTok shop. So if you have a business where you sell products, um, you can sign up for the TikTok shop. I put a link here on how to set up your TikTok shop. And so this is really great because you can link your products to videos. And then when someone sees your video, they can buy it right away. Or they can just simply go to the shop and say someone looks up something and they find your product, they can buy it. But it's really great being able to link it to your video, because say you're making a how-to video and you're using the product, you can link it right there and people can buy it without even having to go search it up. So YouTube is more long form videos, but it is now becoming very popular for YouTube Shorts, and it's now the number one short form video platform, which is more than TikTok, more than Facebook, Instagram Reels. And it's also the second most effective platform for business to customer business. So that's a good fact about YouTube. So when you start creating content on YouTube, kind of much like we saw with Meta Business, YouTube Studio gives you so many resources. Um, this is like what the general dashboard looks like, but you can manage your content. They give you lots of analytics. And something that I really like about it is that it gives me ideas. It'll look at my demographics and my audiences and the content I'm creating, and it'll say, hey, there's a need for this. And so it gives me lots of ideas of what to create based on my analytics.
Hmm. But you do have to have a YouTube profile, or you just go to YouTube, search YouTube Studio, and just go.
Yeah,
How
you
do
have
you
to
get
have a
there?
profile. Yes. In order to have access to the YouTube Studio, you have to have uploaded a video. So um, I'll talk a little bit about branding in a second here, but YouTube is a big, big place for SEO, which is search engine optimization. SEO is huge in YouTube because we think about what do people go to YouTube for? It's usually how to do something or for information about something. So being able to answer a question like we were talking about at the beginning can be utilized so much on YouTube. So content, SEO. So this is an example here. Someone typed in crochet for beginners, and we look at some of these titles. How to crochet for absolute beginners. That answers the question. And basically, the goal with SEO is when someone types something in, that you're going to be one of the top answers to that request, that search request. So branding on YouTube is pretty in line with other platforms, just establishing consistency and brand awareness with a complete profile. This is just an example of Adidas. You can see the CTAs here. They even have a promotional video that you can put on your YouTube channel. And then also having links across all platforms, having links in your bios are so important because those are CTAs, those are calls to action where people can very easily access what you want them to access without having to do too much work. So talking about picking the right social media platform for you, I put a link here with a lot more information on how to choose the right one for you. But I put this graphic in here just to emphasize that most consumers prefer getting their information or feedback about a product from social media. So there's so much power in seeing someone that you trust online talk about a product or market a product on social media. And now we're going to talk about creating a social media plan. So again, strategy and consistency are so important with content creation. Um, So in creating a social media plan, your first question is always going to be who is your audience? And then setting objectives and then creating a content calendar. So what is a target audience? These are the people who are most interested and likely to benefit from your product. And the three components of this are the purchase intention, the interests of your audience, their hobbies, their passions, and probably most importantly, the subculture. So these are the group of people, a part of your audience, who share a particular set of cultural values and ideas that are different from the rest of society. And that's what makes your brand so unique. So to identify your target audience, of course, doing some market research, looking at your competitors will tell you a lot of information as well about who your audience is and what sets you apart from your competitors, what the key characteristics are of your product. And the most fun thing is creating your buyer personas. So this is an example buyer persona for, I don't know exactly what this business is, but you can see here that there's what their key interests are, what their goals are, what is their income, where do they live, how old are they? And I put in a resource here for how you can create your own buyer personas. And I think it's really fun to create your buyer personas. Um, and
So
you,
you do it yourself, Kayla, right? Like so you imagine who will be your ideal buyer, right? Like whatever services, products, and then you put everything together.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot that goes into, and I guess not a lot that goes into it, but based on your branding or your audience, you can really have fun creating that.
And that will be your ideal target customer, right? And you have to find in the pool of the people, you have to focus
Yeah,
on
it's very general. I mean, you're not going to find probably that exact person, but actually, generally, you businesses tend to make multiple buyer personas. But depending on what your goals are right now, maybe starting with just one buyer persona is a good place to start.
and that will help you to scope what is your kind of like advertising marketing strategy, which social media platforms you're going to use, right? Yes. So let's say if
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm selling the services, so I'm going to be my buyer's persona is somebody who's professional, right? Like specific age, specific place, occupation. So that might be LinkedIn is the best tool for me to use my credentials as a, let's say, the trainer or the consultant or something like that, right? And like if it would be somebody,
Exactly.
young,
Yeah.
hippie, like more creative, that would be Instagram and TikTok. So I could use this to align my social media marketing agenda. Okay.
Exactly. Exactly. So why knowing your audience matters, kind of what Yeva was just talking about. I think it's a great way to inspire, because your audience is based on what your mission is, and knowing your audience means you have more of an opportunity to really inspire through your mission, and also helps you to create purposeful content. What knowing your audience, what they want to hear, and aligning it with your personal mission. Also knowing your audience, you can track progress through those different analytics that we looked at, and engaging with their feedback. I'm sure many of you are aware of SMART goals. So setting objectives, SMART goals are specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and time-bound goals. In creating or using those templates that I shared, these are just some things to keep in mind. Every goal that you set, you can kind of think about these different objectives here. And then again, here is that marketing campaign template that you can download and use for any platform, any goal that you're trying to work on with your social media. So now I'm going to talk about content calendars. So being able to stay consistent With content calendars is very easy. Again, posting consistently leads to higher engagement. It saves you time because it's planned out or scheduled. And again, establishing credibility, the more consistent your posts are and the more complete your profile is, the more credible you are to online users.
That means, Kayla, sorry, just like because I'm like really I don't have a clue about social media marketing. It's such like social media, such so if I wanna really monetize social media for my purposes, for my business, for my professional consultancies, so I have to actually sit down and very, very rigidly put together like who is I'm selling to, how I'm gonna do it, like what kind of like tools I'm gonna use on social media. And then I have to sit down, like and basically on a weekly basis plan. So I can't just like I do, oh, I have some idea, like I'm just gonna post something. That is not the way to do it, right? Like you have to be consistent, you have to
Correct.
plan.
Correct. It depends on what your goal is. Like if your goal is to, post more on a personal level, like you said, when an idea comes, you post something. If you're looking to scale your social media, looking to, grow your engagement, then yeah, you absolutely have to have a strategy with your social media. And it is a bit of a commitment, I suppose, but you can post as little as much as you want. Like I said, like giving yourself a goal of 1 to 2 posts a week and see how you do with that, and being able to scale from there can still make a big difference with having that strategy in place. Here is a free content calendar template. There's so many of these. I just love HubSpot because it's a great resource. It's a great platform. Um, and why content creation matters. It's the most important marketing priority, um, is creating content, putting it out there. But like I have said, just putting content out there without a strategy typically doesn't lead to scalability or higher engagement. So it all depends on your goals. And, for example, my father owns a mechanic shop, right? And he doesn't use social media to market. He doesn't really need social media to market. And so it really depends on who you are, what your business is, what are your goals. And yeah, so I think that it's a really great tool to grow your audience and engage with people and share your message. And like I said, I think it's a creative outlet, and that you can have a lot of fun with it, and really meet some cool people and grow your communities. At this point, talking about branding, I figured I'd share my storytelling kit, which can help with branding or just telling your own personal story. And I put a discount code for all of you in case you're interested. I also do interview series, and I market individuals either professionally or personally. So if you're interested in being interviewed, feel free to email me. I'd love to interview you. I put out Instagram posts and blog posts to my website. And thank you so much for listening. And I'm open to any questions that you have.
Okay, thank you so much, Kayla. I think it was very interesting, like it was very holistic view